Welcome to Community Matters. It's my pleasure to be joined in the studio today, and my privilege, by Maddie Mathews and Kate Smith from Memory Matters. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
It's great to see you here. And Memory Matters, people probably have passed the cafe down on New George Street in town. Tell us a little bit, Kate, because you're the chief exec, aren't you, of Memory Matters Foundation?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about Memory Matters. What is it? Why did it start? How did you get involved?
Okay, so I'm also the founder of Memory Matters. So way back 15 years ago, actually a little bit longer than that, I'm going to take you a bit further back as to what on earth I got into this. As a child, I played in the garden of a nursing home where my mum was a matron, surrounded by people with dementia every day. And Mavis used to be one of the residents there who used to think she was a school teacher. And she used to clip me around the ear roll every morning on the way in the school holidays. And I would say to my mum, why does she always do that? She's not my teacher. And my mum, dear of her, used to say, she's got dementia. You have to step into her world. And that stuck with me for a really long time.
How old were you?
I must have been about 6 years old at that point.
That's a beautiful piece of advice from Mum.
Yeah. She was a great nurse, my mum. I weirdly went into nursing after that, worked at the NHS, qualified as a nurse. And back in 2010, I'd got two very small children and I had left the NHS to look after my two very small children, but was spending quite a lot of time in memory cafes. And for those that don't know what a memory cafe is, it's where people with dementia and their carers go and spend some time together in community spaces. It's not a cafe. We went and spent some time going to talk to people there, and the carers were saying to us, when we're diagnosed with dementia, we're just sent home with nothing and we don't really know what else to do. How do we make life a little bit easier for us? How do we engage our loved ones in something that's going to make them feel better? Because we know we're going to be left with this forever. But actually there's a journey that we're going on here. So how do we help? And way back then, there wasn't anything, actually. People were being diagnosed and sent home with nothing. So we decided to do something about it, and came up with some few ideas about supporting people in their own homes for a couple of hours, just so that their carers could have a break. And provide something called cognitive stimulation therapy, which sounds a little bit like I'm going to put wires in your brain, but that's not what it is. Cognitive stimulation therapy is just a talking therapy for people with dementia to enable them just to engage in the world, have loads of fun, drink tea, have cake and give their carers a rest. Okay. That grew very quickly over the next 5-6 years. We moved from supporting people in their own homes to running whole days, to running CST groups. In 2016, carers were saying to us, what we're finding really difficult is just getting the advice when we want it. What we're finding is issues come up, and because we're looking after somebody 24/7, making an appointment at the doctor is quite difficult. We only have 5 minutes, and actually I'd like to talk about things for a bit longer than that. So we said to them, well, it sounds like you want an information centre where you can literally walk in off the street and ask. And they said, yeah, that'd be really nice, please. So we said, great, where do you want it? And they said, Plymouth City Centre would be great because that's where all the buses go. So, of course, us being us, and nothing is impossible, we wandered around and had a look at premises in the city centre to see if we could find a little information centre, but realised as a social enterprise and a charity that it was very difficult to find rates money and find rent and those kind of things when we're giving things away free. So we went back to the carers and people with dementia and said to them, when you go into town, what do you do? And they said, we have a cup of tea and have some cake. So we opened a cafe. And that's where Moments Café came from. That's where cognitive stimulation therapy comes from. That's where our Memory Café, which is our group for people upstairs, comes from. We also hold a young onset group up there for people under 66 who have got dementia. We have the Dementia Advisor drop-in service, which is there too. And we also do lots of training and obviously lots of fundraising all over the country. So just as a little tip into there, so last year we had 56,000 visits to our cafe. It's an incredible place to be. And the whole essence behind that is if you buy a cup of coffee from us, what you're doing is supporting a free advice centre upstairs for people that really need it.
That's really good. So the cafe is the actual coffee cafe is open to anybody and everybody.
Absolutely. The public can come and use it as they want. And it's a bit quirky. If you've never been, you can decide to sit in the 1950s zone, the 1960s, the 1970s, or the 1980s zone, depending on how you feel at the time.
That's got real appeal. I can, yeah. That's, I can imagine. I mean, retro is a huge thing nowadays. Everybody likes retro things, and being able to go and sit somewhere. I guess there's a reason for that based on the work that you're doing. But from just a perspective of, oh man, 70s, I remember, was it really as rough as I remember it was? I'll go and sit there. So
there's nothing more joyful than seeing people come in and going, oh my God, they've got flying ducks on the wall. And nothing more lovely than children coming in and trying to work out how to use a rotary telephone and having a look at a 1950s telly.
Yeah.
So, and great big video cameras and from the 80s that we used to cart around when we were doing family videos. But yeah, so having things to talk about for people with dementia is great. For older people, it's lovely. We all know how to reminisce. We love reminiscing. It makes us feel good. And that's kind of the point, is come into the cafe and do some reminiscing and have a great cup of coffee.
Yeah, therapeutic benefit. Listen, we'll take a break for some music, ladies. We will come back and hear more about Memory Matters and the work that's being done right after this. And we're back, and back with Kate and Maddie. Maddie, we're going to talk to you in a little while, I think, but back to you, Kate, if we can first before that. Great outline of how the whole thing began and you founding the whole thing, and clearing up a couple of misperceptions that I've had from walking past the shop front on New George Street. Not thinking, oh, can I go in there? Can I not go in there? What's it about? It was a brilliant beginning, and I'm sure you could expand on that loads. What are the kind of issues around dementia that you face on a daily basis, the things that people really struggle with getting to grips with?
There's a few things really. And when we think about when people first have issues with memory loss, and we know that those who have memory difficulties, their biggest fear is, I'm going to get dementia. And when people think about dementia, the thing that they think about is sitting in a care home rocking. And of course, it's not like that. You know, that's the tiny little bit at the end. People can live with dementia for quite a long time and still function on a day-to-day basis with some support, as usual, as any disease. And let's be clear about this. Dementia is a disease. It's not a natural part of aging. You're not guaranteed to get it. Just because somebody, thinks that you can't find your keys or you can't find your wallet. How many times do we all go into a room and forget why we're there?
More and more often.
All
honestly.
the time. But forgetfulness and dementia are two very, very different things.
Yeah.
And I think when people are worried that they've got dementia, the first thing they do is not talk to anybody about it.
It's the same kind of stigma that goes with mental health issues, and that's been talked about a lot lately, but still can be an issue. The isolation of, I better not say anything, and then the whole thing's compounded, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think, the news doesn't help that. We have lots of talk of, people having their houses taken away and you're not able to do anything. And actually, if we don't do anything about dementia, if you have a memory difficulty and you do nothing, you will get no help, even if you do. But if you do talk about it, the likelihood is that you will get support, you'll have people around you. And that's the other thing, is a lot of the services that are available will only be available if you're diagnosed.
Right. Okay, so go and see someone if you...
Go and talk to someone and come to us. If you're not sure and you don't want to go and see a doctor, every conversation with us is completely confidential.
So talk a little bit about that then, Kate. So coming into the Moments Café, coming into Memory Matters isn't just about coming in, having coffee and a cake, or it could be, but you've got specialists on hand, people who know how to listen, know how to help you navigate your way through what could be a bit of a minefield.
Absolutely. And it is. You don't know what you don't know. And I think that's a really key point to it. And having time with people. So yes, you can come into Moments Café, you can sit down, have a coffee, cake, and off you go. But that also might be the way that you pluck up the courage to come upstairs. We've got a lift as well, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so we do have dementia specialists in our building all the time. And what they can do is sit down and just talk through what's on your mind. Sometimes people will come in and go, I think I've got dementia. Some of the time it might not be. Some of the time it might just be, a whole raft of stress that people are carrying. It might be the menopause. It might be a million different things that are, messing with your mind. But it also might be the precursor to dementia, in which case we can talk through all of the things that you might need to think about. We can give you lots of ideas on where you can go. We can actually signpost you to places. If you're really struggling and actually somebody's been living, a lot of people live sort of 2 or 3 years at least with quite serious memory difficulties before they even have a conversation. And sometimes it's too late then. We're hitting crisis point. Yeah. So actually guiding people the right way. We link really well with the memory service in the NHS. And quite often we can refer very quickly to those people just to say, actually, these people are really struggling. This is what we need to do. But also sharing information on the kind of things that you might want to think about. And that can be a million different things. It might be, write a bucket list and go and do some amazing stuff. If you've just been diagnosed, make the most of your life. What's on your bucket list? What do you want to do? Go and do it. Don't wait. It might be, I'm not sure what I need to do about power of attorney or banks or money, or I don't know how to tell my kids or my grandchildren, or even with those with young onset dementia, I don't know how to tell my work. And I don't, I'm looking after my parents and my kids, and I've got a memory difficulty. So navigating some of those really tricky conversations is what we do best. Yeah. And quite often we will facilitate a conversation with family members in our building. It's like, why don't you come in with them for a coffee? We can sit downstairs in a quiet corner so that it's not clinical and it's not scary, but come and talk to us and we'll just help you have some of those conversations.
I'd be good. I want to talk about family because I've got a question about family. But if we start, I know if I ask that question, we'll be here and run right over the next song. So let's take a break for some music. We're back to hear more from Kate and Maddie about Memory Matters right after this. We're talking with Kate about Memory Matters. Kate, thanks ever so much. Kate Smith, Chief Exec of or founder of and many other things to do with Memory Matters and Moments Café. Kate, a question I had that sprung to my mind would be people listening who are relatives of people who think, hang on, is something happening with mum or dad or my husband or my wife? Does that happen often that people want to come and talk to you about their relatives? And if so, what would you recommend?
Yes, all the time. Family members will notice much quicker than those that are affected by the memory loss. And families sometimes notice it when they go and visit relatives and haven't seen them for a while. And interestingly, I was talking to a whole group of carers and people with dementia about this only a couple of weeks ago. It's like, what was your experience? And they said, oh yeah, we knew something was going on a good couple of years, maybe 4 years before, the gradual decline. Quite often, the conversation is, how do I bring this up with my mum? How do I say that without upsetting her? Because, I've mentioned it and she flew off the handle and said, don't talk to me about it. Yeah. The likelihood is that's fear. And actually starting a conversation with, I'm finding this conversation really difficult because I know you're going to be frightened if I bring it up, but I want us to be able to talk about it so that I can help you.
Brilliant.
Is an easier way. So just explaining and talking through what that emotion might be first enables that emotion not to come up.
That's really sound advice. That's really good. Good standard practice in a number of situations.
In all situations, actually. Bring up the emotion first is always it's always an easy segment into that emotion already being allayed. Yeah.
Totally off topic. I love watching Mortimer and Whitehouse Gone Fishing and their riverbank conversations. But the doctor who goes on there, when he was talking about men's mental health issues and how do I talk to the doctor, began similarly with, I feel really awkward talking about this, but I've been feeling a bit down. Just an opener to get over that hurdle of, I'm afraid of this and I don't know where to go. Yeah. So great advice. And so for family members who are struggling with how do I bring this topic up with mum or dad or whoever, can they come into you to just talk through first?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly who we're here for. And actually, not just family members, but actually, if you're a professional carer looking after someone with dementia and you don't know how to have a conversation with somebody that you care for, come and talk to us. We've also got loads of stuff on our website about how to communicate effectively with people who have got memory difficulties. But yeah, come and talk to us. We'll give you some handy hints and some phrases that you can use. But also, on the flip side of that, quite often, people will have memory difficulties and not want to go to a doctor. and not want to talk about it and not want to engage in it. And that's fine. You know, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But what's important around that is if the family members around that are struggling with that. That's a really challenging space to be in. If your loved one, you know, has got a dementia but they don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to go to a doctor, actually making sure that that person who doesn't have the memory difficulties is supported is also what we do.
And there's a difficult journey implicit in what you've said there, where there will come a point where people are going to need more support than they perhaps want to have.
Yeah.
Do you get involved with helping? The answer is going to be yes, but how would you get involved with supporting family in that kind of situation? Because you've got a tension, I guess, of an individual resisting, probably masking, I would guess. I guess people mask it when they have memory issues. And I know I've got a few little tricks already when I forget things. But that must be really complex to work through, because you're handling somebody's individual rights and value as a human being and how they perceive themselves, and the need for the family and the desire of the family to care and prepare for the future.
Yeah.
Your people must be really tactful in that.
Yeah, and I think we have to be too, and thinking very clearly about, which is why I say to people, come early. Because actually, even if you come and see us at the early stages of your memory difficulties, you say to me, do you know what? I don't want to go to a doctor. I don't want to be diagnosed. I'm not interested. What's the point? All of those questions we hear all the time. And the family members are saying, yes, well, that's okay. But what about me? I need to be able to look after you. Then we open a conversation about, okay, what do you want it to look like? Write down your wishes now. Talk about that right now, so that should that get any worse, your loved one already knows what to do because you've already told them a long time before. It's almost like a wishes document. This is what I want. And I've had this conversation with my kids. You know, I've had plenty of conversations with my kids around, you know, please put me in a care home. I don't want you to look after me. I definitely don't want you washing and dressing me. You know, I want professionals to do it. So please, when the time comes to it, I'd like to go into a care home. Thank you very much. And they're all like, oh, what? Why would you want to do that? And it's like, because they're amazing. Why would you not want to go there? You know, there's some amazing care homes. They're professionals. That's what they do. So having those conversations are really important, actually, at any age.
Yeah.
You know, let people know what happens. Nobody knows what's around the corner for any of us.
It's all these difficult conversations about, I mean, some things inevitable in life. We are all going to die. Let's have that conversation. That's taken quite a while to get brought onto the table, and is still difficult in some situations. As you say, dementia, not a certainty for everybody, not a function of old age. It's a disease that can happen, but doesn't happen to everybody. But still, having that conversation early seems to be the way to go. I mean, you've outlined it, but why would you? I know why you would not, but really, if we can get past that hurdle, I liked your idea. And is it as helpful as it sounds? Maybe it's just me subjectively, because I write. So the idea of writing without being in charge of my communication, so that I can just put that down, seems to be super helpful.
Yeah, and actually do that on your own in a really nice place. And when you think, if everybody says, well, it sounds a bit morbid, isn't it, to start to think about actually the end of my life. But why would you not plan the end of your life like you plan the middle of your life? Because actually, if I don't have the ability to say what I want, somebody's going to make that decision for me. And I don't want to wear purple, and I don't want my sons to wash me. So there's a bit about, and for God's sake, don't put milk in my tea. That's really important.
Forgive me, wearing purple?
Yeah, I'm not a purple kind of girl.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. I thought there was some whole colour-coded thing that I've missed in life. Okay.
No. I always used to laugh with my husband because I was losing my eyesight, and he said, that's great because I'll dress you in exactly what I want you to wear. And I was like, don't put me in purple.
Ooh.
But sharing your wishes, and actually anybody can do that at any time, and you stick it in a cupboard and you seal it up and you sign the back of it and you say, to be opened upon the death of, or when I'm unwell, open this is going to tell you what I want. The joy that gives families and the stress that relieves people when they're at that point is just immeasurable.
Great place to leave it for now. We'll come back after this next track. Maybe, Maddie, we can have a chat with you about how people can support and what your role is in support or engagement. But we'll talk with Maddie and we'll talk with Kate more about this right after this next track. If you've just joined us on Community Matters, you can catch up with this interview on the Listen Again. We'll give you the details for that later in the programme. Maddie, can we talk to you?
Hi.
Kate and I probably nattered on too much. Kate has talked very comprehensively and very informatively about your work at Memory Matters. What is your role like? Tell us a little bit about your role. What do you do?
Well, it's a new role, so I've been with the team for just over 4 months now. The purpose of me being there really is to raise their profile, get more people to understand what it is that they do, to hopefully touch as many families as we can that need our support, because whilst we have a lot of people using the service, there's still so many more people that don't know who we are and all the fabulous things that we do. So that's one of many roles. Also to encourage people to support us in whatever way they can, whether that's through fundraising. We've recently launched a fundraising campaign called Create Your Own Adventure in Aid of Dementia. So the idea is to make fundraising fun, because I think that's really important. There's other things that you could do, just as Kate said, about coming in and using the cafe. For every cup of tea you drink and slice of cake you eat, you're supporting the hub. We've got business space as well, amazing, vibrant business space that local businesses can use. There's lots of different ways to support us, making a donation as well. That's super important. But I think it's just people understanding who we are and what we do is really important. So just having the opportunity today just to talk about important topics that I think affect, well, now it's 1 in 3 people. So I'm sure almost everybody listening will be touched by dementia in some way today.
Yeah. I think if 1 in 3 people are going to get dementia, then everybody is involved in dementia somewhere in terms of family members or knowing somebody.
Yeah, exactly. It's affected, whether it be you directly, a friend, a family member. It affects the whole family when you receive a diagnosis of dementia.
Yeah. What kind of fundraising events and opportunities have you got? That creative, I completely didn't get it. It was
Create
a great
Your
rhyme,
Own Adventure in Aid of Dementia. So it's just basically saying, look, anything, you can create anything fun. Let's make it fun. We had a guy recently, it was last Friday, and he did a cycle from the West Midlands to Plymouth, raised over £3,000, which was just fantastic. Yes, it was hard going, but it was also deeply rewarding. It was so emotional as well, because at the end, he was met by his friends and his family member. Both his mum and dad were there, who have both used our services at Memory Matters as well. So it's just about doing something that's really good for yourself. You know, if we all need to challenge ourselves from time to time, to set yourself a new challenge, a new goal, and if you can possibly do a little bit of fundraising alongside that, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. That's really good. And so people that would want to get involved in that and find out more, what's the best route for them to do that?
Lots of different ways. I mean, as we've mentioned, we are just above Moments Café in town. You can pop in and see us. You can give us a ring. Telephone number there is 243 333. Address is 69A New George Street. You can drop us an email at hello@memorymatters.org.uk. Not that I expect anybody to remember this, or just give us a Google and we will pop up straight away. Just type in Memory Matters and we'll come up, and you can find lots of different ways to.
Well, if you're listening and you've thought, where's my pen? I didn't get a pen. You didn't tell me that was going to happen. Don't worry. You can catch it on Listen Again. Also, an email studio@crplymouth.co.uk, like usual, and we'll get all that information out to you. Google Memory Matters, actually. And I think you'll pretty much find all that as well. If I turn back, Kate, to yourself, the Memory Matter, is it just in Plymouth that you've got this? I say just as in, is it, in the best sense of that, is it focused on Plymouth?
Plymouth is where we are based. So the services that I've talked about today are in Plymouth, but we also spread across Cornwall too. So we currently have cognitive stimulation therapy groups running across Cornwall, and we also run a dementia advisor service that works with the NHS across the whole of the north and east of Cornwall too. So a fair whack of stuff going on at the time. So whether you're in Cornwall, whether you're in Plymouth, you can contact us. And the other thing about that is to say, actually, if you're not in Cornwall or in Plymouth and actually you're a little bit stuck on a question about dementia and you're not quite sure where to go, just drop us an email. We'll always be able to answer and help. We're very good at finding stuff that happens local to you. So I'm happy to do that.
And that could happen. We had Tracy White, who talks about trauma and trauma-informed stuff, getting inquiries from the northeast because we're going out on the internet as well as locally in Plymouth. So that could happen. So get ready. So that's my thoughts in raising that question. You founded this 15 years ago.
Yeah.
With a motivation from your own heart. I really want to make this happen. Something needs to happen. I think we said off air that there isn't anything quite like it in Plymouth. It was the only dementia charity in the city. Was that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about it. We always hear, there's some amazing charities around dementia. Don't get me wrong. The Alzheimer's Society is amazing, and Dementia UK, amazing, do some great work. Memory Matters is the only solely dementia charity where any money goes locally and stays locally. So if you donate to us, it happens and helps people in our city. So if you're looking to fundraise for a dementia charity, that's us, because there isn't any others in Plymouth, basically. And your money will stay here and it will be supporting people from our city.
That's quite a key, because often when we're giving to charities, we do hear the negative stories of, how much of that is going to admin, how much is it going to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And everything's got to be administered, let's be real. But knowing that it's local, it's going into the local economy, it's ticking boxes for me in terms of generative economy and stuff. But anyway, let's not go there. Okay, look, we'll take a break for some more music. I want to come back and ask a couple more quick questions at the end, give you a chance to say anything that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about. But I can just see we've got another track lined up. So we'll come back and hear more from Kate and from Maddie after this. Well, we're coming up towards the end of the show here on Community Matters. Don't forget, if you've missed it, there's always the listen again. Go to crossrhythms.co.uk/Plymouth and search our Listen Again page. Loads of our interview programs are back on Listen Again. You can certainly get this one as well. Tell your friends, share it on Facebook, share it on YouTube, do all that kind of stuff. Right, Maddie, can I turn to you? I know that you've got an open day coming up. We talk, it's not magic or mystery, and I'm not super intelligent. You said to me you got an open day, so I know that's true. Tell us about the open day you've got. And if you're listening to this after the open day date, then just ask when the next one is and go up on the website and find out. So, Maddie, what is it? When is it? Why is it?
Yes. So it's taking place on the 27th of September from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. So it will be just upstairs in the Memory Matters hub, which is just above Moments Café. It's a completely free opportunity for anyone affected by dementia. So whether you have a diagnosis, you don't, it's somebody that you know, it's designed to best support you. We'll be there, obviously, talking about all of our different services. So as Kate's mentioned, there's things like understanding dementia. We'll be providing information on that. Other information about our memory cafes, our CSTs and CST Plus programs, young onset, different training packages also that we provide. But we've also got other outside agencies as well. So there will be free financial support, free legal advice, and oodles of different organisations there to best support anybody affected by dementia. So as you mentioned, it is on the website. We also regularly put things on our social media. So if somebody is affected by dementia, if they check us out on Facebook, we've always got lots of information about this and lots of other useful tips on dementia as well that somebody may find helpful. It's also on the website. And one other thing to mention is that everybody's receiving 10% in our cafe that day as well. So come in, have a cup of tea, have a bit of cake or a cheeky little panini, and it would make a huge difference to us.
Now, there's three questions right off the bat. So give us the dates of the open day again.
So it's the 27th of September and it's 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Okay. What days of the week are you open as a cafe, generally?
Monday to Saturday.
Monday to Saturday. What times?
We open at 9:30 during the week and 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and we close at 4.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so that's because I'm literally, you said panini, and I'm thinking, okay, when am I going down? Okay, coming back to, I tell you, I don't know who Maddie or Kate would like to answer this. Someone's listening and they're thinking, right, I haven't got a relative that I think has got dementia. I think I'm fine, but I'd really like to know more about this. Have you got capacity? Because you don't. To just talk to someone who wants to find out more.
One of the most important things for us always to do is to share as much information as we can to destigmatise dementia. And if that means anybody's got a question, what does this mean? Or, I'm really interested in it. Or, I'm thinking about going to work with people with dementia. What's the best route? Anything like that. It is open to anyone. Come and talk to us about dementia. It's my favourite subject. I could talk about it forever.
I just love it. I love it when people are really, really positive about really difficult subjects. We've got, I think, who is it? Robert Maltby at St Luke's comes in, talks about death. And he's like, I'm not going to call it passing away. I'm not going to call it anything. It's called about death. It's going to happen to all of us.
Exactly.
And he's got a really positive take on it. It's really helpful because it's just part of life, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, the fear just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Fear just stops you from moving forward. So get rid of the fear. Think about the fun. And lots of people will, some of our beneficiaries talk all the time about, I love coming along and spending time with you because it doesn't matter if I don't remember anything. It doesn't matter because nobody else can either.
Yeah, yeah. I think I do love your enthusiasm, Kate. I think it's great. Do you think, personal note, the fact that Mum was a nurse and you've been a nurse, because my mum was a nurse, and conversations at home were always like totally blunt and straight to the point. Like, Uncle Jack, he's not a bit poorly, he's got cancer and we're looking after him. And it just opened the whole thing up. Do you think a nursing background has helped you have that frank and positive attitude?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nurses call a spade, let's be fair, and they see the most challenging and the most difficult of situations in human nature ever. And I think being a nurse and being part of a space whereby you can talk openly about those kind of things, and actually you can say, oh God, that's a bit scary, that's a scary subject, or oh, that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, is all right. And it's all right for everybody. It's a bit like talking about money, isn't it? Nobody ever wants to talk about money, but everybody's got it and everybody worries about it. It's the same thing. Everybody's going to get older, or everybody's might become unwell. So let's talk about it so that actually that path's just a bit easier.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Well, look, Kate, it's inspired me from both of you, and particularly from your enthusiasm, Kate, around the conversation, to see it in a much more, how would I put this? Not light. Light is a good word for it. A much more light context where you shone a light on it. That's what it is. Something's come out of the dark and into the light. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's something that can be freely, openly talked about. And it's, hey, let's go and have a conversation. Knowing that you've got a nursing background and a specialist background in that, and you're like with an authority on it saying, hey, we can talk about this. That's super encouraging for me. Hopefully it is for the listeners. And I really want to thank you both for coming in and sharing what you've shared about it. Really think it's helpful for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So if you want to find out more, check out, just Google Memory Matters or whatever search engine you use, because Google isn't the only one. And don't forget, you can check out the Listen Again page at crossrhythms.co.uk/listen again for more info on this show. Check out our socials, like it, share it, do all the stuff you're supposed to do with it. Thanks for being with us on Community Matters. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. And we'll catch you next time on the programme. Don't forget, we're here 24/7 for you. More music and life on Cross Rhythms right through your day.